This week's videos are sponsored by PrizePicks, the easy-to-use fantasy sports betting app. More on them in just a bit. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been kind of a crazy day today, and now we have limited time, but we are going to cover CinemaCon. We are going to talk all about it. Coy, thanks for being here. Coy was at CinemaCon up until the day of Thursday, which was the Disney day. I've kept up with some of it. Obviously, we saw the Superman trailer because we were supposed to shoot this earlier, but we had to cover the Superman trailer because this trailer we got to do is a big one.
Yeah, it is.
And John, right now in the moment of film, this is slapping into that thumbnail. Thanks, John. Anywho, let's react to some CinemaCon news together, guys.
Yeah.
Now, I thought since we are on a bit of a time crunch, I immediately thought, here's an efficient way we're going to do this.
Okay.
I have scrolled to the Discussing Film Twitter page, and on that Twitter page, I have went down to March 31st.
Okay.
And so whenever a news story pops up from CinemaCon that sounds of interest, we can go into it. You were there for some of the panels. You weren't there for the Disney one, right?
So I wanted to be here, and I know we needed to shoot this today. We should shoot it because this goes up Friday morning. So I left at 2 a.m. after doing work until 1 a.m. I drove back and arrived at 6:30 a.m., napped, followed the Paramount panel here, and then covered Disney panel via the internet. So I'm a bit manic, underslept, but ready because I wanted to make sure we did CinemaCon here at Reject Nation.
Then perfect. We're both in a very similar headspace in our own ways.
I slept 4 hours a night the last 5 nights. We'll see how this goes.
Cool. Yay. This is going to be a fun one then. Okay, before we start going through the Twitter pages, why don't we get the big ones out of the way?
Sure.
Obviously, I think, okay, the big one, Spider-Man 4.
I was in the room where it happened. It was cool.
You were in the room when it happened?
Yeah, the brand new
Sony
day,
presentation.
Yeah. But it was special to feel the energy of the room. Like there's like a crackle. What I briefly before I talk about the Spider-Man of it all, what I love about CinemaCon is that it is an entire room of people only there to celebrate the movie theater, which is even arguably more specific than Comic-Con because Comic-Con has become like pop culture con. Like comics are a factor, comic movies are obviously a factor, but the bigger Comic-Con gets by its nature, it has to be more like for everyone. CinemaCon is about the exhibitor. So studios come out and they go, hey, all of the people that make this possible, thank you. Here is what's this to come. Put more theaters of this movie. Here's the best of this. But in between everything, there's little like vignette documentary segments of like this couple in Montana that have been in the movie industry for 3 generations, and this man that married into this wife who never wanted to work in the movies, but now they love it together, and they got this theater in Montana that people drive 50 miles to. So you've got all these big presentations from studios talking to the exhibitor, but then you've got like these small exhibitor stories. So it feels simultaneously like a mom and pop and a giant conglomerate experience, and it reminds me of when art can actually be show and business. So I love the energy of the room more than almost anywhere else in the world.
Wow.
So I wanted to give that credit for like the Spider-Man moment. The specificity of it was Sony kicked off everything on Thursday. Like Sony was the big first thing. So it was this amazing moment of like, we're all there to celebrate not just movies, but the act of seeing movies communally. And Sony got to kick it off with, arguably, I think the biggest announcement is, brand new day. That's a huge moment because if you've read the comic, you know what that means. They got to finally confirm the release date for Spider-Verse, but they also had so many other things leading up to that it felt like a rock show. It was just so cool to be celebrating it with all of the spectacle and all of this stuff, and then little blitz of like, oh, and then this. So brand new day was awesome because Tom Holland is filming in Greece. He's on the Odyssey, so we just zoomed in. Destin Daniel Cretton came out and made a bunch of jokes about losing money in Vegas, and but his kid, he was describing his child who's been there. He's like 1 year old. His child's whole life has been while he's been developing Spider-Man. So his son's first word is Neneman. And he recognizes the red and blue of Spider-Man and just has the sound. So his first word is Spider-Man because that's what he's been so focused on. So to hear something so heartfelt and then to see Tom, who loves this character, and to feel the importance of this to the director and to Tom and the whole thing, I love that. I think what they're doing is leaking false information at all times. And I love that we have so much of this, like, it's going to be multiverse, it's going to be grounded, it's going to be blah, blah, blah. And then now we finally have some actual facts. I think after No Way Home, they've started being like, tell this outlet it's actually this. And then and see if it actually gets out. Because everything that Brand New Day is very different. That comic is intended to change the status quo in the exact same way the movie's about to. Like in brief, Marvel Comics had multiple Spider-Man comics running since 1978. up until Brand New Day, when they consolidated all their storylines into one Amazing Spider-Man title, and they narrowed everything down into the comic came out 3 times a month, so almost weekly you had a new Spider-Man comic, but it was one storyline. And this Brand New Day story ran 102 issues. But what it did was it made Spider-Man more like living with Aunt May or with a roommate again. Harry Osborn came back in the picture, down on his luck, Parker luck, but it was at the cost of the Mary Jane relationship. One More Day was Peter making a deal with the devil, so he could save some people, but it cost him. What the devil wanted was his true love. So that means they had to split up. Very similarly, in No Way Home, Doctor Strange Forgetting Everyone, so it's the perfect place to pick up, but it also implies a much more grounded Spider-Man. So to me, I think we're going to get our cake and eat it too, and actually have a pretty grounded Spidey. And Destin Daniel Cretton's choreography and style and all the Shang-Chi stuff. Just those 3 words say an insane amount is what I'm saying.
I think they say more than people give it credit for.
Yeah.
Because it's straying away from the home title, but One More Day was only like 4 issues. It's short-lived and impactful, made a difference, and of course No Way Home took inspirations from it, but Brand New Day, like you said, was the soft reboot era of Spider-Man. And it's a little controversial for some people. Some people love it, some people don't like it, but it is what it is. And it's following through on the plot from one of my complaints that I kind of have with the trilogy of the home trilogy is that they often have like an ending and then the setup of the next movie is so briefly lived or not really following through that strong on it. Like one of the go-to examples for me is like Aunt May in Homecoming to Far From Home.
Yeah.
How the end of Homecoming is, what the and then the next movie she's like, all right, cool, yeah. And then that's about it. There's not really much stakes to it. And while you could say No Way Home does it more than when the events at the ending of Far From Home, it's not really about Spider-Man being on the run. He's not even really that much of a fugitive in that movie. He goes back to school.
Right.
Like
everything's just as it was.
And you don't see the trial. Pretty much, yeah. But he's kind of like bummed out and like, I want to erase my identity. It's a little hard. It doesn't feel like there's a lot at stake. We're in like One More Day, like Aunt May's dying. Like there's and he's like fighting with Tony and getting this like whole fisticuffs with it. Like there's a lot at stake with it. And this is the first Spider-Man movie where they're doing, not even Mark Webb, not even Raimi. This is the first Spider-Man movie where they're taking the exact title of a comic book. Yeah. Marvel is known to do loose adaptations of their stuff. One More Day is an extremely loose adaptation of One More. If anything, it feels like they got an idea from it, but it's not even really an adaptation. This might be the first case where we're getting a bit of an actual adaptation.
Could be.
Of a very popular line. And with Sadie Sink, it immediately had me go to the character of Jackpot, which was introduced in Brand New Day. And won't spoil stuff because that's a big part of the journey. I think, though, that it would make sense for her, especially when you see how people were going, is she playing? I'm trying to be really careful with my words here as to not spoil it. When people are like, is she playing Mary Jane? Is she playing Mary Jane? They already have a Mary Jane. And Jackpot says things like Tiger, you know? And, you see her, and I feel like it would be a good mislead for that. Jackpot may not be as well known of a character, but it makes more sense than like a Jean Grey to do.
I think she might be Carly Cooper.
Oh, really?
Just because historically, it's funny because Bryce Dallas Howard, iconic redhead, turned blonde Gwen Stacy. Kirsten Dunst, blonde, turned redhead for Toby. What if they cast a redhead and brunette Carly Cooper? But I think energy-wise, very much like the new love interest, the cute girl next door energy, like that I could see. I think Jackpot is a very tricky. I don't love the character of Jackpot. I don't want to give anything away either, but I think Jackpot would be very difficult to land with the context of where they leave off things. But you're right. She is introduced there, and we've got this character, Sadie Sink, and it's like, well, 1 + 1 might be 2. Yeah. But I think Brand New Day, like, the impact is really exciting.
Chameleon becomes a big part of Brand New Day. Something tells me they would steer away from that. We can't just make this a Spider-Man podcast. There's so much to go through. But I will say that the Chameleon, because he was in Kraven the Hunter, I kind of feel like they'll steer away from having him. I think they would, yeah. Even though I think it make more sense for it to be like Mr. Lee. Yeah, I think, Mr. Negative's probably likely. Do you want to see what other news? I know, it's so easy to get caught up with this one piece of information, though. We just talk about Spider-Man this whole time. All right, so do you want to go like chronologically by the studio, by day? Do you want to go by like the biggest things? I've seen it all, so I don't know how you want to like steer this. Let's go chronologically. I'll start scrolling through here, and then whenever we land on something that sounds of interest, I'll be like, hey, maybe we can talk about that, because There's a bunch of.
It was 4 days. We cannot do this in 1 hour. So whatever you think next.
Yeah. Oh, Nathan Fillion's going to be returning as Guy Gardner in the
Yes.
Lancaster. That's exciting.
Yeah, I
I
also,
thought he was a dead guy in Superman.
because of lanterns.
Yeah.
They also, in that new Superman footage, they added him to the fight in the background. I don't know if you caught that.
Oh, they did?
So when that big orb's in the background, it didn't used to have this green beam that comes in, and I'd put money on that being Guy Gardner.
Wow, okay. Sydney Sweeney's in talks to star in the Gundam movie.
Crazy.
Sounds like they're headed down a Transformers path. Sure, Sydney Sweeney's going to...
What's this generation Sydney Sweeney? She's going to
sell
open the
hell out of
hood.
the Gundam wing movie.
Is she going to open a Gundam hood and be like, hey.
You know, there might not be enough appeal, but if we put Sydney Sweeney in the Gundam movie...
Sure will sell to a market.
And I'm someone who likes Sydney Sweeney quite a bit, actually.
I saw her at CinemaCon.
Oh, Beyond the Spider-Verse, of course.
Dude. Well, you said not everything's Spider-Man, so
No, I know, but damn, I forgot about Beyond the Spider-Verse.
Got a release date June 4th, 2027, and I got to see a mere few frames of new footage. They showed a montage, and there was some new stuff in there.
So is it this four little...
There's like 6, but yeah, that's 4 of the 6.
Okay, cool.
There's a Prowler shot that has Prowler and Miles in the background that's really dope.
Really?
And then the overall energy was so frenetic and awesome. They talked, the guys came out, or Chris Miller came out with the 2 directors and talked about having the goal to innovate to the same scale the first 2 did. And they said, you know, that we really tried to elevate and innovate between 1 and 2. We want to bring you the same thing for the 3rd. You know, it's taken a little while, but I'm team the first 2 are 5-star films. It can take 20 years. I want this to be as amazing as it needs to be.
It's one of those films where the ending of it is so much like this story's not complete until we get the next one. It really feels that way, like it's a part 1 and part 2. Yet I will wait for part 2 for as long as it takes.
Because I do not want Masterpiece rushed.
No, and I've even heard some people debate of, can't they start implementing some AI into here? I'm like, that would ruin it. It would ruin it.
Literally, like it's about art being celebrated. I don't want robots that have no souls trying to give me soulful art.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean, that's the image here of Miles and Prowler
isn't that
looking at each
gorgeous?
other. Oh, that's a gorgeous image.
I almost made my phone background, and I was like, no.
I mean, this is the Prowler that we end with, right?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's Miles versus Miles.
That's my favorite image.
It's going to be a real confrontation between oneself there.
And I believe also dealing with the father element, because like one of them has a father, one doesn't. So like the nature nurture and man v man and man v self. It's doing all the man v's.
In a day and age where we used to be patient for sequels and now we're grown really impatient, I feel like this will be a huge hit regardless.
I'm okay with it. Like I said, I'd wait 20 years. I'm glad it's only 5.
Although it is kind of weird how they were like, next year. And it's been like 3 years now?
I have a
4 years?
crazy theory.
Uh-huh.
I think they had no release date. Someone just put it the same, like they just scribbled one in and then it accidentally got leaked and then they said it was that. Like I don't think they ever intended it for it to come out 6 months later. It wasn't, they hadn't recorded voice work on it when it was supposed to be out. Like there's no way you mess up a schedule to the scale of like, we haven't started, it's supposed to be finished. Like that doesn't seem possible. Do you know what I mean? Like Sony has historically had leaks and had hacks and all those things. I just feel like they were like TBD. And then suddenly it was like out next week. What?
Yeah. Okay, Zach Cregger with Resident Evil says his film will focus on one central protagonist. Oh, that gets me so happy. Going on a point A to B, slowly falling to more hellish territory. Resident Evil is an incredibly cinematic game, and it has. Have you played it?
Yeah. First 3?
I don't know how to describe it. Maybe you'll do a better job than me, but I've always wanted to see an adaptation of it in the way it's shot, where you
Over the
walk
shoulder.
into a frame.
Yeah.
You like there'll be a shot here, you can hear a zombie, the other shot, and you walk into that shot. It's a constant walking into shots.
Yeah.
I think that would be a very unique way to capture it. But the fact that he's talking about zeroing it in and making it solo, this is the first time I'm actually hearing about this, making it solo, going into more hellish territory. He's actually understanding the horror behind it, and he's a horror director. He's understanding the horror behind it and not solely the action that it is.
And there's another film he's got called Weapons. They talk that it was another day, and that looked so scary that I might skip it out of fear. Like I loved Barbarian, and it was at an event that he was at, and I got to talk to him briefly, and he had just started working on Resident Evil, and I was so excited that anyone was even as passionate as him. And then he came out and gave the speech, and he was so impassioned and had the exact right things to say. It felt like when you're at a comic store or a video game store and someone's like, you know, if I was going to make a movie, I would just, and then I was like, but a real director. Like it felt like a fan that just happened to be an impossibly talented director saying all the right things.
Oh my God, Freddie Prinze Jr. is returning for I Know What You Did Last Summer?
And so is Sarah Michelle Gellar.
What?
Oh, no, sorry, Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Oh.
Not his wife.
Because I was like, doesn't one of them die?
Yeah, Jennifer Love Hewitt was in the trailer.
Was she? Oh, there was a trailer?
Yeah, it was
What?
awesome. Yeah, they played a trailer and it looks insane.
Damn, it's right around the corner, July 18th.
Yeah, this summer is insane. It's the week after Superman.
Wow, it's who Wes Craven did that, right? I believe.
I know he did Scream. I don't know if he did. I know he did last summer.
Did you know what you did last summer, Johnny?
I think you're thinking of Kevin Williamson on that one.
Oh, is he coming back?
He's
Doesn't
coming back
matter.
for Scream.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
But the footage was great. Jennifer Love Hewitt got a giant pop in the room when she there was a turnaround reveal, and we were all like, "Oh!"
That's insane, man.
was
Where
dope.
the hell has she been? I was watching Heartbreakers on TBS at the gym the other day.
As you do.
And I was like, damn, I forgot about how Jennifer Love Hewitt was so Jennifer Love Hewitt-y.
Yeah,
You
for
know?
10 years, she just ran the game.
Yeah,
like,
I
she
was
just
like,
was the woman of the hour.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
It's kind of the tuxedo. This was my jam growing up. The tuxedo, you guys have seen it, right? Jackie Chan, he gets a tuxedo. He does his own stunts, but he's not doing his own stunts in that movie.
Tuxedo.
Jake Kasdan, Jumanji 3 announced?
Yep.
All right. Man, there's so many announcements. The thing about this was I stopped following because it was too much to keep up with.
That's why I'm like, I don't know how to help 4 days worth of what I've seen.
Okay, the Beatles biopic. Did they show any footage of this?
Okay. Do you know anything?
I
Don't
mean,
read further. Don't read
okay.
further. Look at me. The Beatles.
Okay.
Barry Keoghan's Ringo.
Oh, that must make you so happy.
I'm
That
ecstatic.
must make you so happy.
Henry Dickens, the dude from the Nicole Kidman, raunchy times movie.
Harris Dickinson.
I had the two names around Harris. Harris Dickinson is John Lennon.
Okay.
Give me another white boy.
Paul
McCartney is played by Paul Mescal.
Oh, shit.
Give me another hint.
George.
George is played by
Joseph
Quinn. But here's
oh, fuck, you're right. I was
you were
totally
just guessing.
joking. I was like, what other joke?
current?
No way.
The 4 internet boyfriends. All right, here's the twist, Greg. Don't read.
Oh, okay.
It comes out 2028. But guess what? It comes out April of 2028. And it's not a Beatles movie. It's 4 Beatles movies following each one of the Beatles, and they all come out the same day. We get our first binge model theatrical experience, 4 complete theatrical movies from each perspective of a Beatle in one day.
Really?
What is it gonna do to cinema?
Really?
And it's
Every
all from
internet
Sam
boyfriend.
Mendes.
Did you know about this?
Yes, actually. I know a lot about this now.
I did not know that.
Oh, yeah. I've been following this.
How is that
insane.
possible?
They're filming, and it's gonna be like Magnolia on crack, like all these stories interweaving, but it's Beatles starring all the internet's boyfriends out in one day.
Is it in the theaters?
Yeah. They're trying to make bingeable theater. They're trying to find ways to bring the theater back to scale, and they want to release 4 movies in one day.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I like experiments. I think I want people in the movie theater.
Okay, so I'm gonna go watch the George Harrison movie, then I'm gonna walk into the theater for the Ringo Starr one.
Half
and
an hour
feel like,
later.
let me tell you what happens at the end of the George Harrison movie. I'm gonna spoil it for everyone.
I imagine it all culminates in like a big concert or something that'll like interweave.
What's the culmination movie? The Beatles?
No, I don't think there is one. It's 4 separate movies.
No, the 5th movie will be the Yoko movie that disbands them all.
John with the mic drop.
Nicely done. Isn't that insane? I wanted to. Sorry for yelling into the mic, everyone, but I was so excited about that announcement because they came out on stage one at a time, and then he announced 4 separate movies.
I can't believe Paul Mescal.
Is Paul McCartney-
It's Gladiator 2 happening here. That's weird.
Yeah, dude, I'm stoked.
I was totally joking about Joseph Quinn too.
They're like, internet white boy.
He's just one of those guys now who's going to be casting everything for a while. He's like, whenever people say Pedro Pascal's in something, and people go, he's in everything. He's not. The second they hear his name, though, he's in everything. I'm starting to see that with Joseph Quinn now. He's in everything. All right, what else do we got here? 28 years later.
Dude, the footage is crazy, and there's a twist.
What?
28 years later isn't one movie. It's a trilogy.
Oh, yes, I heard about this.
Written by
oh,
Alex
and
Garland.
Cillian Murphy's coming in.
Yeah. Alex Garland wrote all 3.
No way.
The first one, directed by Danny Boyle. The second one, directed by Nia DaCosta. The third one gets made if they make enough money.
Oh, really? Is that what they said?
Yeah. So December, we get 28 years later. January, 28 years later, Bone or something.
Wait, slow your roll.
Bone Temple.
What did you just
Thank
tell
you.
me? December you get 20? I thought you get it this summer.
Is it summer?
I thought this summer. They wouldn't release them a month apart, would they?
I've never made a trilogy, greenlit 2 of them before.
It's June 20th for the first one.
Yeah.
And then January, I believe, is Bone Temple.
And then January 16th for Bone Temple.
So 6 months apart.
We've only just begun, and I'm overwhelmed with information.
Imagine
already.
being there. It was so much.
Oh, God.
And then I was going to Cirque shows at night. Vegas is crazy.
Whoa.
So they just threw all this at you. So we get 2 28 years later within 6 months, and then a third one happens if they do well. Danny Boyle, Nia DaCosta. I'm so excited. All 3 written by Alex Garland. So I get to see an Alex Garland, Danny Boyle joint and an Alex Garland, Nia DaCosta joint.
This is what they meant by all 4 Beatles biopics. That is the craziest piece of information. Nothing will top that for me. We could have started with that. I would have been like, end this.
Show's over, guys.
Yeah, nothing will top that for me.
When they came out on stage one at a time, and then they were like, each gets like it was the craziest moment of like, I don't even know how to comprehend 4 movies at once. We're gonna go to the theater for like 9 hours. I hope there's like a bundle ticket.
How do you not get? I mean, it's like when so much emphasis is put on opening weekend, you position yourself to at least have one of those be like kind of flopped, and then one of those Beatles is going to look real bad. One of those Beatles is going to look.
It's
a
gonna
lot.
be Ringo, but Barry's playing them, so maybe not.
No, I think it'll be poor George.
No.
I mean, yeah, George is like the least popular one of them, right?
The Harris Dickinson's very popular.
And he's playing John Lennon, though. You know.
Oh,
like,
you're
John
right. That's the
John
one that's
Lennon
gonna-
is like the most popular one.
Yeah.
Or Paul McCartney.
Paul McCartney.
Paul
And Paul
yeah.
McCartney's him.
All right,
It's a crazy thing.
We got to move on. I don't know what we're gonna do with ourselves.
That was just Sony.
That was insane. Okay.
I told you, Sony like opened the gates. It was a crazy opening day.
Okay, this is the new Hunger Games movie.
So Francis Lawrence came out, and this
He's
was the
back.
Yeah, you not like Francis Lawrence? That was a real dejected.
I mean, come on, do something else, man.
Free Francis Lawrence.
Like, what are you doing, dude? Don't you have like more variety left in you?
He's a big Chuck Palahniuk fan. I've always wanted.
I'm
him to
saying
get
this
back
as
to
if like he doesn't make good Hunger Games
Yeah.
movies. I even like the one with the Snow White, whatever.
the most recent one I loved.
I thought that was actually.
I thought it was a
pretty good.
brilliant
Yeah.
commentary on so many things.
I don't know why my mind.
Francis
It's kind
Lawrence
of like how
doing
I
what he does.
felt about David Yates, continuing Harry Potter movies.
Very
Like,
similar.
It is similar. Where I'm like, I know
they stayed
you
good.
weren't. You didn't get into directing to direct the Hunger Games.
But you make a lot of money to direct him good.
Yeah, and maybe he does other stuff that other people don't see.
So Francis Lawrence came out and was talking about the book and said how like much darker it was and how it's been really hard to navigate like making something with a protagonist in the same way that's this heavy of a book. And then we all got the book. They gave us like all copies of the new
No
Hunger
way,
Games
really?
book, which is really, like I've never had a studio be like actually read. It was really cool when we left. We all got the book.
Are you going to be reading it?
I read all the original Hunger Games, so I will. I really like that series a lot.
Congratulations, you're smart. So
I can read at least a 7th grade level.
Now I am familiar with this piece of information. I'm looking for all of it, and maybe you know it all offhand. John Wick 5 is happening.
Yes,
The prequel anime show.
confirmed.
Honestly, out of all these, the one I'm most excited for is the Donnie Yen movie.
Directed and starring.
Exactly, because
Yeah.
Donnie Yen has directed before, and his character Kane was a scene stealer.
Described as a Hong Kong style actioneer.
I expect nothing less.
Very excited about that little detail.
Donnie Yen has done incredible. For if you are of an American audience who has not actually ventured, just look up fight scenes.
Yeah.
There's fight scenes he's done where they said, "Let's improv." Like what?
How do you not kill the man?
with weapons? Yeah, no, it's weird. Like, well, improv and record it.
Yeah,
like
let's see how this goes.
the guy's a real martial artist who also understands fight choreography, and yes, he's also a talent as an actor as well.
We got to see 8 minutes of Ballerina.
How'd it look?
So during all that, they like showed us Ballerina, and then they were like, "And John Wick universe." Like it just kept marveling. But the Ballerina footage was crazy because they showed us a action sequence, and it ended at the place an action sequence normally would, and we were all like, like it was one of those Chad Stahelski action sequences which you're wiped out by. And then they came out and they're like, "That was the first third." And we were like, "The hell!" So it's like a 20-minute sequence, and it was a really cool way to be like, "This is just getting started."
Cool.
It was really violent, incredible. It was really cool because it uses Ana de Armas's like slight frame as a benefit. Like it uses how she's going to fight differently than John.
Good.
And it also, it's not a spoiler because it's in the footage. It also makes it really clear you're getting the comic book style, your protagonist switch. John Wick becomes the villain. So it's like the Baba Yaga's chasing
Really?
her.
Oh, so he's like antagonistic in her eyes.
basically he gets hired to take her out, and he's like, I got to do the job. And like you see the pursuit of John Wick at your protagonist, which is dope because we follow John Wick as
cool.
like, you know, he's our guy. But like when he's coming at you, the Baba Yaga myth feels way scarier when John Wick's like a jump scare. So that was cool footage. And then they actually took us to a John Wick experience, which is the greatest escape room / gun training I've ever done.
Oh, cool. They use gun training.
Yeah, dude. So we, it was like room after room was deeper into the lore. Like it started at the Continental. I thought it was going to stay there, but then it literally goes into us being on the run from all these people, and each room is a different thing. And like, there's a cartographer, there's a suit maker, there's all this stuff. And then by the time you get to the end, you're given a weapon, and it's giant 20-foot screens, and you're doing precision training with a gun that's like a laser pointed, and you actually get a score, and that determines what room you do next. It was dope. Best one of those I've ever done.
Humor me here for a second. Do you ever feel like they're biting off more than they can chew with the John Wick universe? Because I think part of the appeal of the lore is the subtlety and the limitation of it when you're in the shoes of Keanu Reeves as John Wick. It's not really the lore is the most compelling shit in the world. It's the fact of you're watching John Wick specifically in it, and that gets unpacked with him there.
My hot take is I like the first 2 John Wicks more than the last 2. Because
the fourth one's like my favorite.
Everyone's.
Yeah.
I like when the juice is about him navigating gun fu and counting the bullets and actually having it. By the third one, he's like, and then the fourth one is like, I am God.
Yeah.
Now he's gonna be in the fifth one. He's coming back from the dead.
The fourth one was my favorite. The fourth one was my favorite that actually had the lore in it.
Yeah.
That I personally was like, this is the first time I'm really truly in love with all of the world building. Whereas the first one's probably first one's probably still my favorite movie.
It's a gun, a car, and a dog.
And it's simple. It's simple.
That's what
and
I like about John Wick.
with some lore in there, but it's that limitation that makes it gravitational.
That's exactly what I'm describing.
Yeah.
The pencil doesn't work in the fourth movie.
So when they're telling me about John Wick is back and you're doing a prequel anime movie from the director of Kubo and the Two Strings, what? All right, maybe I'm suddenly interested in this movie.
He's fallen. I mean, he's fallen down too many stairs. Like I've seen.
This is an emotional tweet experience for me, guys.
Oh, a director I really admire. I see. What's the director's name?
Shannon Tyndall. It's such an interesting choice.
Yeah.
Dude, I've only seen trailers for Kubo and the Two Strings, but that's such like a family movie, isn't it?
It's beautiful though, and it's also stop-go animation.
Shouts out to Shannon Tyndall. Also directed Ultraman Rising. Reached out to Aaron and I after that video.
No way, really?
Very sweet guy.
A guy.
Yeah, would have thought it was a lady. Shannon Tyndall. I was going to be like, oh, great.
Well, the John Wick spinoff of Kane, I don't know, that fits. And Kane was the first character in that, of the supporting characters, where he was a conversation.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I do think it's like, I like the more contained Wick, and this obviously can't be that at a fifth. It's like the Fast and the Furious. Like if they go, I want them to go back to street racing. I don't think they can.
Yet when you talk about Ballerina, you sound excited about it.
But the Ballerina looks more like John Wick 1.
Looks more like John
Because
Wick.
it's Ana de Armas needing to fight like men twice her size. So it's her using her environment. It's her being inventive. That's what I liked about Wick. By the time he's God mode, it's less stakes. Ana de Armas gives it stakes.
I mean, Donnie Yen's kind of God mode. He's a blind man whooping a bunch of ass.
That's very comic-y of him. But you know, it's still a little, I don't know, there's something to it where I'm like, this character can actually be hurt, even though I know the movie has to end.
Well, also the tone that they threw him in for John Wick 4 is different than 3 and 2 as well.
Yeah.
3 and 2 feel a little bit more like fun, and 4's there's a
Biblical.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, biblical is the word for it. I love the title for Now You See Me 3. Now you
They
see
finally
me 3.
did
Now
it.
You see, now you what is it? Now you don't.
Now you don't.
Oh, great title. The underrated franchise. Underrated franchise. They're doing 4, right?
Yep.
Incredible. Could not be happier. Those movies are so preposterous.
They bring in another team in this one. They showed footage. I seen the trailer.
They can't do anything wrong for me.
There's
honestly.
4 Now You See Me leads, right? Like the 4 horsemen. They bring in a team of 4 young magicians, and the 8 of them have to go against like a cartel.
Brilliant.
It's insane. It's like
Brilliant.
Ocean's 13 magic.
Yeah, no, that's what it is. They are. It's not. Doesn't even try to make you feel like the magic is real. It is insanely stupid and ridiculous. I love it.
The director came out, and I respect the director. Going with the words that we want to hear. But he's like, I tried to do all the magic in camera, and I really tried. And then the first shot is 3 people warping into one person. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like it's like what's in camera about like 3 people forming one person? Like that's not nope.
No, it's complete science fiction. It is an insane franchise that people sometimes. I understand if you roll your eyes at it, but you're supposed to roll your eyes at it and go along.
It's joy.
Yeah, I think they're a blast movie.
I'm so glad they finally realized.
1 and 2, amazing.
Now You Don't was right there the whole time.
That's a great title. I feel like that's what they needed was that one bit of a title, right?
It was like Bad Boys 3 being called Bad Boys for Life, and then they made a fourth one. They're like, oh, we already used it.
A lot of this is like I'm seeing a lot of announcements. It's more that what's something that we'd like to talk a little bit about. Okay, dynamic duo footage was shown.
Dude,
does it look good? What was it? Was it good?
Dude.
Yeah, it's a dude.
If I have a pick for my biggest pop of the entire CinemaCon, it's the 3 seconds we saw of Dynamic Duo.
Why? What's in it?
Okay, so there's this company, Swaybox, and they're doing something I have never seen. They've blended puppetry with animation that looks hand-drawn and CGI to smooth it out. So it literally looks like photorealistic puppetry that has live action in it that I can't see the seams of. Do you remember the first time you saw like 30 Seconds of Spider-Verse, how you were like, I don't get that, but it looks, that's that with puppets. It blew my mind. There's one scene with dialogue, and then there's one scene that's action, and we're talking 3 seconds total. It was part of a montage. During that medley, I literally went like, huh, and then it came back, and I was like, bleh, and I've never seen anything like it. Like, remember the first time you saw Jurassic Park, and you turned around, and then the fucking Apatosaurus was there?
Oh,
yeah. Is it a Apatosaurus or a Bronchiosaurus?
Bronchiosaurus, isn't it?
When you saw the Bronchiosaurus, that moment, like being like, oh, before and after, these seconds of Swaybox animation riveted me to the point where I was like, I've never seen that.
Yeah.
It looks stunning, dude.
I believe you.
Brachiosaurus.
It's a Bronchiosaurus, sorry.
Brachiosaurus.
Brachiosaurus.
Suddenly all that Hunger Games book reading looks real
Oh,
dumb.
I'm sorry I didn't know the dinosaur section in Hunger Games. I must have skipped over that part when they went to the Savage Land.
But there's 3 Robins and a Red Hood on here. It's called Dynamic Duo.
Well, the duo is going to be Red Hood and Dick Grayson.
Okay.
Damian Wayne's going to be in the Batman movie, but they're building out the family.
All right. I'd love to hear it.
Footage is dope.
I believe you. New theatrical animated Flintstones, Tom and Jerry, and Looney Tunes movies.
Yeah, Warner Brothers is getting their animation game up.
Do you think they're going to cancel or sell this shit
They're
off?
going to keep them to this day. It did feel really weird tonally. I was like, how's that ketchup deal going where you sold it last time? Yeah, it definitely felt like I tensed up.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that. Coyote versus Acme is actually going to be...
getting it next year.
I hope people show up. Otherwise, this is all for naught.
And like, we really need to make sure if we're going to rally behind something, we actually show up and rally behind it.
What happened at the Superman panel? Describe for me the perspective here, because I saw no specifics, but a lot of disappointment and a lot of people saying they were bored.
They had James Gunn and Peter Safran come out and run basically a Q&A, or basically Safran ran a Q&A with Gunn, Brosnahan, Cornsweet, Holt. Okay. So they all came out and basically described their characters. And it's tricky for me because I do interviews and love hearing from actors. So I was riveted because every time I see any of them talk about the characters, I go, well put. And like they summarize stuff to me. I loved it. This is one of those moments where there's no way I can avoid the like, Coy's a DC studio shill. I wish there was more of this, not less. I would rather have actors come out and describe their thing than see the movie that I'm going to see in the summer. So like they gave us that 5 minutes of footage. They gave us behind the scenes reel that was like 4 minutes of footage. And then they talked for like 30 minutes or 20 minutes. I don't see the problem with that.
You would think industry people would eat that up.
People want to hate this movie so badly. Like I don't honestly, if you get 5 minutes of at least 60% new footage and then behind the scenes that's actors and character talking about the character, showing the scope and how much practical, like this whole thing. And then you also get them in it. Like what else do you want? But people were complaining and I genuinely don't understand it. And that's a tricky thing with my position of like, I'm the comic correspondent on the network show. And I get how people would think that, of course I would say that, but as a comic fan first, I would love to hear what Superman has to say. I would love to hear the perspective of Lois Lane on journalism. I would love to hear Nicholas Hoult talk about why he thinks he's right, and then have James Gunn describe his experience of discovering his way into the writing the script. Like it was all the stuff that I wanted and footage. So I don't know, man.
Did it sound rehearsed or like talking points or a script that they were doing versus a genuine interview?
There were a couple moments that sounded like they had planned to say a beat, but then derailed, and that was when I was like, boop, got my interest. Like the derailing Like at one point, David Cornsweet did a James Gunn impression where he was talking about how like his favorite part of filming on the set was that James would think of a joke mid-scene, but then be like wildly giggling so loud he couldn't get the dialogue out, and he'd have to wait to find out what he needed to say because it was James like, and he was like right next to James parodying James about his not being able to control himself when he found something funny. I'm like, that wasn't rehearsed. Like he's manically describing James, and to me, the beats that were free-flowing made up for any of the we need to make sure we say these beats. And it didn't, like, some of them are all that. Like, the average little skit they do before a movie feels very much like, remember to make them laugh. And you're like, we need an editor. Like, this felt like a conversation. Like, they asked what, the classic question they're going to get asked on TikTok for the next 6 months. Like, if you could play any other DC character. Like, Safran did that. And Cornsweet had clearly not thought of it because he was like, this is boring, but... Batman? Like, I'd love to switch bodies with Batman. And then Lois was like, I want to be Lex Luthor. I will shave my head. This is my audition tape. And then Nick went, well, as someone who auditioned to play both Batman and Superman and lost them both. And I was like, this is great because that's, like, authentic.
Yeah.
So I think people are just ready to hate this. Like, I think people want to be mad at a certain thing. And that's unfortunate because they're doing all the right beats and it feels like hope and joy. The irony of hating something about kindness is not escaping me. Like, is me describing it sound like that's to me what I would do to promote it?
I like that. I mean, I like that last moment you were talking about, especially. I'm more fascinated by the idea of why people are so determined. Like, they get disappointed so fast with stuff regarding this movie.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's because the movie was a little doomed from the get-go from its announcement of how it happened from Henry Cavill to David Cornsweet or James Gunn. I mean, not even David Cornsweet. I think that right there immediately set some precedent to, a consistent voice of prove me wrong.
Then like people, I mean, I briefly got on Twitter today like a fool, but seeing people like, this can't be real. Does James Gunn know that Superman loves the sun? And I'm like, he's healing, and also it's 3,000 times. Like it's just people like knee-jerk reacting and not even considering what that image is. Like, why would healing not hurt if you're broken? Like, and why would the sun at that scale not affect? Like, it's just crazy.
Oh, is that what I saw? Okay, because I saw someone tweet out like, "This can't be real," with like a sinister laughing emoji. Thing. And I didn't read to see why they were saying that. Okay,
and that's what I mean. People are just like, I want to be mad. And it's a movie about kindness. And then, like, it was a really beautiful moment where James was talking about after he found his way in through crypto because of his dog being a crazy dog. He was talking about what he wanted out of Superman, the movie. And he said, I want people to leave with kindness. And I love that when you see a movie with someone, you love that person a little more. I love that you love that experience. I love that. And he was talking about love and kindness. And then everybody's being cynical about that. And I was like, you guys don't understand Superman if you think someone talking about love and kindness is the problem. Like, what is this take that you're so mad at? And it's just, I mean, I've talked to you before. Like, I have a social media presence that I loathe having exposure to dumb people on. And leading up to Superman, I'm just not gonna, like, I'm gonna output but zero input. Like, I've deleted all the apps off my phone after CinemaCon, and I'm just literally gonna like use the twitter.com post because I'm not gonna read any of this because I want to enjoy it and I want to enjoy life. And these people are just, what are they doing?
I think it'd be so funny if DC did not invite you to the premiere, Coy.
I think it would be the only way I could convince people that I'm not just saying this. Is me sitting in my house while the premiere's on. I want to go, though, so I'm not going to give that to these people.
No. Screw everyone else.
Yeah.
All right, I've been told we're in the thick of basketball season. MLB is heating up, and there's no shortage of games to track. So if you've ever wanted a smarter, more fun way to stay locked in, you've got to check out PrizePicks. It's America's #1 daily fantasy sports app, and it's how this household keeps things exciting beyond just watching. Sometimes it's all we do. Don't even actually watch. And to clarify, PrizePicks isn't gambling. It's a skill-based fantasy sports app where you pick more or less on player stat projections. Think how many points your favorite guard will drop, or how many strikeouts your ace will throw. Lingo, terminology, you build a lineup based on what you know, and if your picks hit, you win. It's real simple. You choose 2 to 6 players, pick more or less on their stats, and if your lineup hits, you can win real money. Up to 1,000 times your entry. And with their flex play option, you can still win even if one pick misses. Payouts are fast, safe, secure. Cash out in as little as 15 minutes. So here's the kicker. football, goalie, kicker, soccer, terminology, lingo. Download the app and use code REJECTS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Yup, $50 instantly, even if you don't win. So if you're looking to make every game a little bit more thrilling, give Prize Picks a shot. It's fun, it's skill-based, and it keeps you in the action. Download the app today, use code REJECTS, and get $50 instantly after playing your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Okay, this piece of information is one that immediately caught my interest. Once Upon a Time, a Hollywood sequel is happening, focusing on more adventures of Cliff Booth. Tarantino wrote the script, not directing. Brad liked it. Looks like Fincher is directing it.
They announced this on April Fool's Day. I didn't believe it until the second. It was a full 24 hours where I was like, no. There's no way. It's real. It's crazy. We're getting a David Fincher, Brad Pitt written by Tarantino film.
He said that I heard some report that it was saying it was the movie critic.
Yeah, they have morphed into this somehow, which I don't understand.
I don't understand considering who
He's a
Cliff Booth's character is. Yeah.
Stuntman and critic. Those are different jobs. They both have movie in them, but I don't get it, but I'm so excited.
It's been a very long time since Tarantino handed off a movie screenplay to another
True
director.
Romance?
I think it might have been From Dusk Till Dawn, maybe. Or I think he was asked to do From Dusk Till Dawn.
John?
I think From Dusk Till Dawn came after because Tarantino's in that movie.
Oh, okay. I think you're right. I think he sold True Romance to get the money for Requiem. And then I think Dusk Till Dawn,
Reservoir.
Robert Rodriguez relationship started.
Yeah.
That's From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah, it's From Dusk Till Dawn. And I mean, I imagine that here's the thing. When I hear this, I don't see a scenario here where Fincher is not going to warp that screenplay a good amount. And
Yeah.
Tarantino is kind of a precious individual. That I don't know how much he's willing to let go, especially with a character like Cliff Booth.
Yeah.
Where he seems very precious about the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood world. He's written screenplays off of the fictional show that DiCaprio stars in.
Yeah.
He wrote a book that I couldn't finish. I didn't think it was particularly written well. And he wrote a book that is better than any book I've ever written, as I've never even attempted. But yeah, he did that. He loves this world. He had this script, ready to go. So obviously he has to let go a bit. I don't know a scenario. It's hard for me to fathom a scenario here where Tarantino, who is very particular, and Fincher, who's also very particular, can actually collaborate together.
Especially with Brad Pitt being so different for each of them. Like Brad Pitt is so cool, that's his constant. But Brad Pitt in a Fincher film is so precision. Brad Pitt in a Tarantino film feels so flowy.
Yeah.
Like it's actually the actor too that I'm like, I think of him so clearly as Cliff Booth as not being Tarantino-esque. Even though he's cool in both.
Yeah.
Like I'm very curious what this is. I love when Pitt and Tarantino collaborate, but I even more I love when Pitt and Fincher. I think that's one of the great duos of all time. I think Pitt and Pitt and Fincher is like Scorsese and De Niro. I think it's one of the great pairings in cinema.
Fincher's direct. Okay, well here's
Fight Club, Benjamin Button.
Well, here's where I certainly backtrack a little bit on what I'm saying though, is that Fincher directed Social Network.
Yep.
And Aaron Sorkin is one of the dialogue writers where you're like, we don't really mess with your dialogue.
And Fincher directed the hell out of that with but that's a precision director,
Yes.
a precision writer. Tarantino's writing feels like it's a different flow.
And Sorkin also knows how to be screenwriter in service of the director's vision.
Yeah. I don't know that Tarantino does.
Anymore, at least.
But if anyone can make it work, it's Brad Pitt who he gets both. This is one of my biggest excitements because I thought it was fake.
Well, yeah, no, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm genuinely really excited for it.
Also, Fincher hasn't announced anything in so long. Like, I've been waiting on a new Fincher thing for a while. The Killer I enjoyed, but like, it's not my favorite Fincher, and that was 2 years ago. I don't love that it's a Netflix film.
This would be one of those limited releases that I would see in the theaters.
Oh, I'd pay to see this in iPic, but I just don't love that Tarantino, being a man who spends his money saving movie theaters, had to sell it to someone that ruins them.
Well, he said he was working on a show that was going to be a streaming show, I think. Like
Tarantino?
He said he had like 10 scripts done for that, this whole thing with his last movie. He seems like he's prolonging this as long.
And he's doing every other medium.
He's doing everything.
I'll
Okay,
sell
now
that
I'm going to write a
I'm gonna
script
do this.
that I'm not going to direct now.
I'm going to write a book about a movie that I'm not going to make.
Yeah.
But I wish it was going to a big, wide release studio.
I'm excited though.
Oh,
here's the thing. Until they're filming it, I'm not going to sell myself that this is actually happening.
It still might be an April Fool's joke, just retroactively delayed.
I could believe that they had decided they're going to do it. I could see it falling apart, though.
Yeah.
That's
I
the
hope,
reality.
man.
I
Cliff
hope
Booth,
it
Fincher.
doesn't. I hope they're able to go through with it, and I hope that when it happens, that Tarantino is supportive, because we know that Tarantino is the kind of guy who, if he's not liking it, he will say it.
We'll hear all about it.
Yeah,
He'll be vocal about it.
We will not. We won't be able to escape it.
Yeah.
It'll be everywhere.
I can't wait, man. Hopefully.
Hopefully. How did we not acknowledge this? Val Kilmer passed away.
Yeah.
When he passed away on April 1st.
Which I think he would have enjoyed.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? His sense of humor feels like it's got a little cheekiness in it. Like I think Val Kilmer passing on April Fool's Day, I wish it hadn't been it was only his 65th, but like I think there's a cheekiness to that man that would have enjoyed like, is it real? Because I thought it might be an April Fool's joke.
I mean, he's a man of many iterations in his career.
100%.
A lot of people first probably got to know him from Iceman and Top Gun. Young, hotshot, cocky kind of guy. And for people like myself, it was actually Batman. And that love for him, thank God, has come around for his Bruce Wayne way before his passing. As we've seen it happen.
Yeah.
That people are like, actually, he's a pretty good Bruce Wayne. He was actually a pretty good Bruce Wayne. And then, he's the kind of guy who seems like his career fades and he comes back and does something. Kiss, Kiss, Bang, Bang.
Dude, that was such a good comeback.
He was amazing in Kiss, Kiss, Bang, Bang. And like, there's something kind of beautiful that's him and Robert Downey Jr. specifically, those two guys. And even with the disease, he shows up in Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah. And even with the disease, he has an online presence that's so charming. He's doing art. He's making jokes
There's
about
a
everything.
documentary about him,
He's touring as Mark Twain for years, becoming Mark Twain every night for years at a time live.
Man's so many different iterations throughout his career.
His Tombstone era, dude. Like
Tombstone, my God, how did I skip that? Yeah.
I'm your Huckleberry is one of the great lines in cinema. I mean, even before all the ones we're talking about now, like Real Genius, I'm a huge, giant fan of Heat. Like him and Michael Mann working together, like he's such a boss.
Everyone talks about him and, Pacino and De Niro. I think he rightfully earns his place on that cover of that poster.
100%.
Yeah.
I totally agree. And have you ever read the thing he wrote on Reddit? He did like an AMA and someone asked what it was like to work on Heat. He had this great long paragraph. He's like, I'm one of the few men in the world that can call Robert De Niro Bob, and I've seen Al Pacino laughing until his sides hurt in the side of a van. Like he wrote this beautiful like poem of like a love letter to being in Heat, and the end is just like, I'm the luckiest man alive. Like I don't take any of this for granted. And I'm like, it felt like reading a college kid that got his first acting gig, but it's Val Kilmer 20 years into his career. Like the reverence and respect he always had for art is beautiful. I'm a huge Val Kilmer fan.
Celebrities die, several celebrities die a year. And my wife never messages me about it. And that was one where she actually messaged me and said, oh my God, Val Kilmer died. Like she's never taken aback by a celebrity death. So yeah, this was an impactful one. Feel bad that we didn't mention the top.
Yeah, same. Now that we've got it's just overwhelmed with everything. But like, I think he's one of the great movie stars of our generation. Where like Top Gun is, when we were born roughly, and like we grew up with him as like our movie star. But I feel like he's, like a Dean Brando 30 years later for us.
Mm-hmm.
Like Val Kilmer is like a formative movie star that earned that through so much versatility.
Yeah, he never stopped.
No, man,
never stopped.
Top Gun, like I love that Tom Cruise. We're actually here's the tangent. Today we'll go back to the second, but Tom Cruise had the Paramount panel on the 3rd, and he had a moment of silence, like a full minute of silence for Val Kilmer that the entire room was completely silent for, which I love that they spent time to give him a bit.
Man, they have stories about each other. That's cool, man. That's really cool. That clip was circulating when he talked about bringing Val Kilmer back.
Yeah, and how he demanded it, like it had to happen.
Tom Cruise was the one who made it happen.
Yeah, and I just keep picturing that computer screen of like you have to let go. Like that is so impactful now with Val knowing, he was close.
Guy Ritchie's fan of youth, Apple TV, baby.
Dude, everything Guy Ritchie's doing has me excited. Like he's doing stuff with Tom Hardy. He's doing stuff like he's got an Isaac Gonzalez joint.
Tell me in 2 sentences, what did you think about How to Train Your Dragon?
The best animated turned live action adaptation, not only could I fathom, but that I've ever seen, is able to navigate replicating the first magic while giving you new takes without sacrificing the integrity of the story, all while building out a magical world that mirrors my favorite animated trilogy of all time in a new way to bring in new audiences. That's third act might actually be stronger than the originals.
Really?
The first act, I did in 2 sentences-ish, but the first act I was like, oh, no. Like, they're not even the first act. Like, the first 50 minutes, I just found myself, like, thinking of the original and being like, oh, no. And, like, there's something that happens a few minutes in, like, 16, 17 minutes where I'm like, oh, wait, I'm living it? And then, like, by the time you're in the second act, you're like, oh, yeah. And then the third act, the scope is able to translate differently. And as someone that loves live action, the scope resonates differently. And I'm gobsmacked at what they get away with. It feels like Dragonheart, dude. It feels like Dragonheart for this generation. It's so good.
You've said it. That's your favorite trilogy.
Yeah. And for me to love an adaptation is high praise.
That or the Sunrise.
Yeah, before either How to Train or before my favorite trilogies.
All right. Wow. Good for How to Train Your Dragon.
Dean, the director, came out and they did they had the How to Train Your Dragon first screening before the Universal panel, and Universal obviously was highlighting How to Train Your Dragon. So then at the premiere, they came out and they were describing like the actors and, you know, the actress that plays Astrid. So like, you know, me and Mason really wanted to honor the original actors and like all of our flowers to them. We really love blah, blah, blah. And then Gerard Butler's like, and we all know only one man could ever take the mantle of Gerard Butler from Gerard Butler. And he just like sings his own praises for 5 minutes on stage. And Dean kept interrupting him, and it felt like a scripted bit that like Gerard was like, no, I'm gonna do this. And like it was such a funny thing. And then later on at the Universal panel, he came back out and started into it again. And then they announced How to Train Your Dragon 2 in live action.
Oh my God, they're going through with it already.
Getting a second one.
Are they? They're probably still gonna wait though to see if it's a hit. It'll probably be a hit.
They announced a date.
It's gotta be. Yeah, it's gotta be.
It's also so good. Like I'm not worried about this movie at all. It's incredible.
You got me excited, man.
They debuted it 2 months early.
Like, it looks really good, but the trailers have primarily been, yeah, I've seen the animated movie. Like, it looks good. It looks...
A lot of the trailer is the shot for shot. The movie is not as much. Like, it veers in so many special ways.
Okay, that's good to hear. That's all I needed to really hear, honestly.
It's not a shot for shot.
Yeah, because if that's all it was, it'd be like, what's so different about this compared to, like, what Disney does, you know?
Very different, in my opinion.
All right. What else do we got here? We're on to the Universal panel stuff.
Day 3.
Anything about Jurassic World Rebirth that was new?
They showed footage, and that was actually one of the skits that was funny. I think that was the best on-stage chemistry that felt scripted, but I was okay with it. Scarlett Johansson, Mahershala Ali, and Gareth Evans came out and made so many jokes at streaming's expense. At one point, Scarlett Johansson was describing working on other, like, you know, wanting to do a dinosaur movie, and she was like, "You look that way, they're not there. You look that way, and they're not there." And then Gareth goes, "Like a streaming movie," and then Mahershala goes, "CinemaCon," and I was like, "You guys, you're cute." But yeah, they talked about like the importance of honoring Spielberg, how much they love the David Koepp script. Then they showed us a bunch of footage that looks more Jurassic World than Jurassic Park, but it looks the most Jurassic Park of the Jurassic Worlds.
That's a really well way to put it. I had a feeling you were going there. That's weird because the first trailer felt the most Jurassic World out of the most Jurassic Worlds.
Yeah, it really did, and I was really disappointed. This one, I'm half disappointed. Like, I just love the first one so much.
Yeah.
Everyone that comes out makes the Lost World look better.
The first one didn't, because the trailer for this new one didn't, at least when they showed us, like zero horror to it. And
this one has a decent amount. This one's like almost a horror trailer.
I mean, it's Gareth Edwards, so it shocked me when I'm like, oh, it's just an action movie. So, but it's marketing, and they're probably trying to capitalize on the fun of Jurassic World.
And which genre they want to market to first.
This one I'm really excited about. I'm surprised it took us this long, considering how popular it was. A Nobody Part 2.
Dude, the footage, I think they showed like 4 minutes of it. It was either an extended trailer or, it wasn't a scene. It was an extended trailer. Odenkirk goes on vacation and accidentally ends up on like a high trafficking trail, and then has to like, he defends his daughter, and in a moment of defending his daughter gets embroiled in like dirty cops and stuff. So it's like vacation Odenkirk fighting people. It's awesome.
I can't wait for it, man. That first one's great, and Bob Odenkirk is amazing.
The action looks incredible.
He should have gotten. I think he rightfully deserved to win at least once for Better Call Saul. Have you seen Better Call Saul? Incredible
Breaking Bad's my
performance.
favorite show of all time, and I've never seen Better Call Saul. I've been that busy. I'm so disappointed in myself.
There's several performances in there that are wildly overlooked. And I was part of the uproar when people weren't nominated and when people didn't win. Yeah, man. I think and it's cool that Bob Odenkirk is able to find this success so much later in his life. Like, who becomes, outside of Liam Neeson,
Yeah.
who becomes an action hero but his age?
And like
you know?
middle-aged action star
Yeah.
then. And Liam
Yeah.
Neeson already had like a lot more street
He
cred
already
in
had
other
like
ways.
the drama, the
Yeah.
badassery. Yeah.
Odenkirk was like a comedy
He was like
guy.
a funny dude.
He
yeah.
did sketch
yeah.
comedy.
And then even nobody's kind of sold on the humor of the premise.
And like it saved his life. He had that heart thing that he wouldn't have made it through without all the training for
Yeah.
nobody. Like I think that's such a beautiful, like, you know, get healthy thing.
Well, and you're drawing this parallel when we also have Liam Neeson in a new Naked Gun
Naked
trailer.
Gun.
Yeah. Speaking of going from comedy to action to comedy.
Yeah, now he's gone full comedy. And Liam Neeson, his cameo in Ted 2
He's so funny.
with the behind the cereal.
And that's Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah,
Who's doing
and,
Naked
and
Gun?
he worked with him in A Million Ways to Die in the
I
West.
didn't love, unfortunately, but I did enjoy.
But I love
Ted
that
2.
cameo in Ted
Oh,
2.
Ted 2's genius.
And for the longest time, I feel like he should be doing more comedy. He's a funny
He's
guy.
so funny.
In interviews and stuff. He can be really funny.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen the Naked Gun footage
haven't
yet.
either.
Haven't seen it yet. I love the original. What I've heard is that he's playing the son of Liam Neeson.
I love it.
Brilliant.
Why not?
The son of
Liam, Leslie Nielsen. Oh, that's so
I
funny.
didn't even put it together. with the
Liam
name.
Neeson and Leslie Nielsen are oddly
I
similar.
didn't even put that together. That their names are kind of similar. They probably acknowledge that in some way.
I also love the idea that Liam Neeson's playing his own son. I thought that's what we were
Yeah,
joking.
no, the son of Leslie Nielsen is a great touch, and I think Seth MacFarlane. I know there's a lot of varying opinions about the guy. I think he's a perfect voice to be in addition to the Naked Gun fan, because clearly it's an inspiration to Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah, I was gonna say it feels like he's already been using it as inspiration. Let him go back and then give that source material some love.
And what's great is it's a while since we got a pure comedy,
Yeah.
and maybe there's going to be some additional action in this, and maybe they'll pitch it as an action comedy. Naked Gun is not an action comedy. Like it's a comedy.
Yeah.
It's a pure comedy. And maybe this one they'll do something different and make it action comedy because this is Liam Neeson.
Like John Hamm's Fletch. Like they played with the genre a little bit there, and that's a
Yeah.
similar era of comedy.
Okay, let's move on. Black Phone 2, I hear is like supernatural as like which suddenly made sense to me with what they're doing with the guy with Ethan Hawke. Because when I first heard it, I went, that sounds far-fetched. But then I went, oh, but the first movie has like kid ghosts and stuff, so it's not that far-fetched.
I was like, what a grounded movie. Wait a second.
yeah.
The trailer is so atmospheric and insane, and then it ratchets up the intensity, and it becomes like a full-on 80s slasher for like 30% of it.
Really?
It literally goes from like, hey, are you used to this world? And it's good to see Mason back, and like we're gonna go to that, and then all of a sudden you're like, Jason Lives. Like it goes like Jason 5 level horror slasher, and then it comes back, and then it kind of manipulates the tone by the end. It's like a 3-act trailer, and all of it's changing tone, and it all looks awesome.
I might avoid the trailer.
It's such a good
reacted to that was the first movie Roxy ever did here. Her and I did that one together, and I was so surprised by how effective it was.
It's my favorite modern singular horror movie. Like Cabin in the Woods is my favorite modern horror movie, but that's like 2000s now. But that's like a comedy horror. As far as horror goes, Black Phone is far and away my favorite of the modern horror era. Like it's perfect.
Well, I get excited at the prospect of them leaning more, like doing something that feels completely different while it being something where they're actually leaning on an element that was already there.
Feels like Alien to Aliens.
Yeah,
Where
exactly.
it's like the same genre. It's ticked, but then you do a new genre for the main baseline.
It's funny because horror tends to be the genre where you can actually play like that. Where like they did Happy Death Day, and I know you haven't seen them, but
No.
there's Happy Death Day, which is very much serial killer horror comedy with the time loop element. And then the second one is not a horror at all, but they capitalize on some other elements. And Alien to Aliens.
Yeah.
Aliens capitalize, it keeps the horror, but they make it an action movie now. I heard with Megan 2, I haven't seen the trailer, but I've heard with Megan 2 that they lean way more with the violence and action now.
Yeah, the kitschiness is still there, but it doesn't feel like it's gonna have the same commentary that surprised me with the first one.
That's a disappointment. Dude.
I was a little bummed at the Megan 2 trailer.
but I don't know if the first. But my point is, it's a larger thing, and what they're doing with Black Phone 2 is horror is that one genre where weirdly. Like, it's rare where something goes more horror.
Yeah.
Or something starts off with light horror and then the sequel is more horror. But sometimes when it's the first, like Terminator is a great example. Terminator 1 is a horror sci-fi movie.
And the second one's an action.
Not
an action comedy, action adventure movie.
Action adventure action adventure sci-fi with horror menace.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But it's not a horror movie.
No,
you
can show T2 to younger people.
Yeah, no, that's there's so many people growing up.
Yeah,
but that would
on
be like,
T2.
I grew up on T2. I haven't seen Terminator 1.
That's so crazy. Horror
Yeah,
movie.
because Terminator 1 is just a direct horror film.
Yeah. Black Phone
and
2 footage is fantastic. I'm super excited about it.
What I love about what you're telling me about Black Phone 2 is that they're leaning way more into the supernatural, where that was secondary genre.
Yeah.
This one, it's going to be the primary genre.
It looks terrifying.
Honestly, that sounds freaking badass
Yeah,
to me. That
I'm really
sounds
excited.
really awesome to me. Yeah, because when you introduced me to Mason at the premiere, I remember telling him, I'm like, what is this? You're getting kidnapped again?
Yeah,
Like, what is this
you're
for?
back, and he's like, Ethan Hawke's back. What?
Yeah. I was like, what was this movie? How does this make any sense? You know?
When the whole cast coming back, I was like, did they see the first one?
I was so skeptical.
Looks great.
Spielberg's doing a new UFO movie?
Yeah, the conspiracy / I don't know what you consider, like, what, I don't know what's happening in UFO lore, but whatever reality of UFO's a huge subcurrent of the internet, and Spielberg is apparently making something that's going to be like their movie. He's a UFO obsessive.
Oh my God. Well, yeah, let's get Christian Harloff on the line.
He literally is going to tell you everything about it, because I don't know anything. But I'm sure that group is excited.
Wicked, for good. Yeah.
Saw the footage. It was pretty badass.
Imagine this is great footage, yeah. I mean, I'm excited to see. Phil Lord and Chris Miller got a new thing?
Dude.
Wait, what is this? What?
Dude.
Holy, what? Ryan Gosling? What is this? Shows Ryan Gosling as a biology teacher who must travel through space after the sun begins to erode. Did they show footage? Is it funny or something? It doesn't sound funny.
I'm enjoying that you didn't know this, because I'm just enjoying you getting to see a new Ryan Gosling before your eyes.
I love Ryan. I've been in love with Ryan Gosling before the world was in love with Ryan Gosling. He's one of my like underground band kind of feeling.
Before he was cool.
Yeah, before like everyone was attached to him. But in Phil Lord and Chris Miller, this sounds so different.
Written by Drew Goddard.
No fucking way.
The original book written by Andy Weir, who worked on The Martian with Drew Goddard.
Be more excited if I knew books more. That is cool though.
2021 Hugo Award-winning book, which is like the sci-fi award. It's like Sci-Fi Best Picture Award. It won that in books.
This is gonna be like the best movie of the year.
Dude, it's Lord, Miller doing a drama, Ryan Gosling, Andy Weir, Drew Goddard. That is the Avengers of a cast below the line, and then Ryan Gosling. This is
Just got chills.
Dude, this is gonna be
getting chills
revelatory.
off of announcements.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, like original movie announcements like that. That is insane.
So I did the Oscar screening of Across the Spider-Verse last year with Chris and Phil, and they were deep in development of this, and they were describing how much the writing process has meant to them and how much joy they were getting out of it. And their joy and their excitement to do something like this, I was like, oh, I'm excited, like in a curious way, because I love these guys. The footage it might be Gosling's best work, dude. It looks incredible, and I don't say that lightly. This thing looks nuts.
That's the thing I love about Phil Lord and Chris Miller is they do movies where their direction is one of the stars of the movie.
Yeah.
But they never neglect their stars of the movie either.
Yeah.
Their actual leading actors always get something to chew on.
And written by Drew Goddard.
That is baffling. Like, that
Insane. Insane.
I never, and I imagine Phil Lord and Chris Miller like have say in the script and stuff, but damn,
that's one of my most anticipated things.
What a trio of people.
It's Amazon via MGM, and they're putting theatrical. Amazon promised to do 12 to 14 theatrical films, and that is one of them.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
And between Ryan Gosling's character, ET type lovable alien named Rocky. Mm-hmm. That's cool. Will Andy Serkis play him?
It's the only one who can.
Will Bill Hader voice him? Will Alan Tudyk voice him?
Bill Hader's voicing the Cat in the Hat, though.
I didn't hear about it, of course.
They showed footage, and it's the weirdest. It's crazy, dude.
Okay,
it's so funny. But then Bill Hader came out and was clearly unscripted. It was just so like, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say that. It was so fun. Bill Hader came out like basically as Cat in the Hat.
Oh
just
my
wreaked
God,
havoc.
dude! Project Hail Mary.
I'm so excited that you got to discover this. I'm so honored I got to see you discover
What a
it.
great title, by the way. There sounds so much stakes in that title.
The book is nuts.
Project Hail Mary. What a brilliant title.
I haven't read the book in its entirety, but I've read like pieces of chapters to see if it was my thing, and I've been dying to read it. I own it. I haven't read it. I'm so excited.
What's crazy to me too is that they're leading. No, when I hear Drew Goddard, I kind of associate ensemble.
Okay.
And this sounds very like singular focus. Yeah. Which makes me more excited.
Yeah, it's because it's Ryan Gosling.
Yeah. Oh man. Whoa! I just can't.
I'm so glad you got to this guy. Like, it was
my mind, man. This is the Amazon panel that we're at right now.
Yeah, because he.
Oh, because they got Michael B. Jordan with Thomas Crown.
I didn't get to talk to him, and I always have wanted to, Ryan Gosling. But he was in a hallway, walking by, and he waved, and there was a moment where I was like, I wish Greg was here. And then it's so funny that it was for Project Hail Mary, and like now you get to learn it in real time. But like Ryan Gosling, like man, what a vibe! That guy's energy is immaculate.
Yeah, it was literally. I was filming some of Roxy beforehand. I was going in depth about like why the Drive performance specifically struck a chord with me in my life at that time, and I've been obsessed with him ever since. He's one of the few. I use the word obsess carefully. Like I am particular about it. Like Roxy says obsessed is like one of her vernacular. It's part of her language. And for me, I'm like, when I use the word I'm obsessed with someone, pretty particular.
I know more than I should.
Yeah, like I'm just gonna convert a rap song about it. Like it's on the channel. It's a fun, it's a comedy rap song, but it shows too. I think we'll get this guy really does love Ryan Gosling.
Do you know the Iliad bookstore? The used bookstore in the Valley. There's a lot of books on this episode. I do love books. I was at the Iliad with some friends, and my reveal of how obsessed I was there was a fitness book, like a movie fitness book, and it was just the bottom half was sticking out, and it was just the lower like 2 or 3 abs, and no body, just lower 2 or 3 abs. And one of my buddies was like, "Hey, who do you think this is?" And I was like, "Those are definitely Tom Hardy's abs." And he pulls it out, and it's a Tom Hardy fitness book, and I was like, "Oh no!" So I think Tom Hardy's my Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, valid for you. Yeah, no, there's no question about that. Yeah, absolutely.
That was when the word obsessed, I was like, that tracks. That's Tom.
I got my listening face, like my face cannot look like Ryan Gosling's, but my listening face when I'm like just kind of stoically staring at the guy from Ryan Gosling, just what Ryan Gosling does.
I learned to face.
When Ryan Gosling's listening, I weirdly would say I'm realizing this right now. I learned how to listen better from watching Ryan Gosling in movies.
Your active listening came from a performance of Ryan Gosling.
Undoubtedly. Like
the shoulder routines I've taught you came from Tom Hardy's trainer, Peanut.
I
so
know.
like,
the
hold the close,
Down 32 pounds.
Dude.
I haven't updated you in weeks.
Yeah, I hadn't heard. I went to Vegas. I'm up some, but that is incredible, man.
Yeah, no, it's like I remember being really affected by Ryan Gosling and the way he listens, and when I'm in conversation, I would just stare.
I will do the thing,
Ryan Gosling, but it's like my eyes don't portray the same level of depth.
You're playing Night Call in your head. You're playing the score. You're like,
plain and simple does not communicate anywhere near as impactful.
Real human being.
Luca Guadagnino.
Andrew Garfield, I Wet a Berry movie.
This guy just makes like 2 movies a year now.
And they're incredible every time with great casts.
I've seen like 2 of them. I have not seen that many of his movies. I want to watch Queer. I heard that's a good one.
And Sergeant Rock.
Whoa, there's a Hugh Jackman movie. Oh, wait, what is this? Is this like an animated thing? Oh, no. Wait, whoa, what the hell is this? This is honestly, this is not the SEO heavy ones and the ones that will get clicks, but these are easily the ones I'm most fascinated by. Have you heard of this? 3 bags full, a sheep detective story. I'm loving this. Follows a flock of sheep. I can't get over this. Who solved the brutal murder of their shepherd, played by Hugh Jackman. I want to see this right now.
Amazon is going nuts. Amazon is making moves, dude.
And everyone signed up. Bryan Cranston, Patrick Stewart, reunion, and Emma Thompson. I'm not sure I'm grasping what this is about. It follows a flock of sheep. Are they going to be voiced? So their shepherd is dead. That's Hugh Jackman. And the other ones are the voices? I don't care. That's a brilliant plot. That's a brilliant movie, man.
Yeah, dude, Amazon got a movie with Halle Berry and Chris Hemsworth.
That's what I just landed on right now.
Crime 101.
And Barry Keoghan.
Yeah, like Amazon's crushing it right now. I'm really excited for this slate, like all the stuff they're doing.
Oh, God.
Yeah, the Luca movie, Project Hail Mary, that one.
Mahershala Ali is going to be in a... There's so many announcements. I'm so tired from reading.
Greg does not read the books I read. This is too many words.
This is a lot. Yeah, I'm like, I've provided barely any commentary in this video.
You've got the best reactions,
It's just me
though.
going like, what? What
That
happened? What are they talking about?
The internet got to see you see a Ryan Gosling movie be born.
I'm so excited about that. I've heard the He-Man thing looks surprisingly cool.
That I didn't see. I'm excited to see it. I heard it's like really beautiful practical effects.
Ooh. Have you heard about this? I mean, of course you have. I Play Rocky.
No, actually, that wasn't on the thing I did.
Amazon follows a young Stallone and the dramatic journey it took to get Rocky made.
Selling his dog and stuff.
Peter Farrelly, yeah, I know the story very well. Peter Farrelly is set to direct.
I did not catch that one. That's incredible.
Is it going to cover the time when he did adult films to survive?
What was that? The stallion, the Italian stallion?
Yeah, you guys can find those
And then
online. They're online.
If you'd like to see Rocky's Balboa, it's on the internet.
Yeah, it's their Balboa.
The Balboa.
The Rock. I'm sure we didn't invent that.
No, but I just thought of it, and I'm sure someone else thought of it first.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, Peter Farrelly, he had a Green Book, and then he followed up with that Zac Efron one that no one really seemed to appreciate. So you don't even know the one with the beer in Vietnam. I didn't even see it.
It was fine.
Yeah.
I like We Are Your Friends so much more than most, so I was hoping.
Is there a young actor today that looks like a young Stallone to you?
10 years ago, Milo Ventimiglia. That's why he played his son in This Is Us. Because he looks so much, and in Rocky.
It's the eyes, man. You got to get those eyes down.
Yeah, I can't think. Stallone's so specific. He looks like a shark. That's also why he is a shark.
Jeez. Okay. I love that. I mean, there's a whole backstory about him, for him getting Rocky made, the amount of rejection. It is one of the best stories, true stories of endurance and resilience.
And like keeping the rights and everything, and like playing him instead of selling it. Yeah, it's
a
insane.
story that people who are not Stallone love to tell.
It's also like the actor story for our generation of like, gotta do whatever it takes. Like I remember that as a struggling actor. Like
sold his dog. Then when he got the money, when Rocky got picked up, a large percentage of that money he
went
used
to buying his dog
to
back.
buy his dog back
at a very different price point.
And that dog is in the movie. Butt kiss, yeah.
And he still has the turtles. The turtles from Rocky. They're still
Forget
alive.
that turtles live forever.
Yeah, they're still alive. Rocky 1 turtles still in Stallone's possession.
I mean, this is a pretty much by the numbers, but it'd be interesting to do because Rocky's such a
Seminal film.
template for like the inspirational sports movie that has become a genre and a cliche of its own. And this would kind of be that.
The Accountant 2 is also Amazon, which I didn't realize they're not getting enough credit for. And Amazon MGM's doing The Accountant 2. With
nice.
Gavin O'Connor, the director of Warrior.
So I'm talking about very similar vibes.
Well, Warrior's the first thing to dethrone Rocky for me. So that's why I thought of it. Like Warrior to me is the best sports movie of all time. Rocky's right there though.
Yeah, Warrior's pretty incredible, man.
Gavin O'Connor's a genius.
You know, you put out a reaction when people are messaging you, are you okay? The amount of messages I got on my Instagram, I've been like, I don't know what you're going through, Greg. I hope it's so sweet. Because I'm like, I know, I mean, I'm experiencing the movie. Just playing on real emotions, but I'm not like, guys, my life's crumbling. Here's my reaction.
This isn't a call for help. It's a reaction.
No, it's showing out in a face. It was a positive experience. It was a cathartic experience. It wasn't a please help me experience.
I talked to Gavin at the con, at CinemaCon, and I told him your experience and also how much Warrior's my favorite film and that, you know, The Accountant is the sequel I never thought we'd get that I've always wanted. And he was just like, yeah, I've got this, you know, unlucky touch where people discover my movies later and it doesn't, but I'm hoping it changes. And I was like, what a great response from a man who makes great art.
Did you see the trailer for Running Man?
No, I was doing a red carpet during the Amazon, so I only saw some of this.
Did people react to that here?
I haven't seen it.
I feel like someone shot a reaction to that, and we've been waiting forever to upload it because
yes,
like,
there is a running.
I remember adding that to the list and then hearing about this and going,
wait a
hold
second.
off, wait till the trailer's out. Yeah.
So it's out. We've got a reaction?
I think someone did a reaction to it. I don't know who did it though.
Coy, you were in this video.
Oh, I thought you meant the trailer reaction.
you
I
and
was
Andrew.
like, I did that one. I watched that
you
movie.
were in the movie reaction.
I thought you meant a trailer reaction.
Yeah, we haven't uploaded it yet.
Yeah, I did that. I watched that movie.
You did that months ago.
Yeah. It was great. I loved it.
Yeah. That was a fun one.
I think that's everything.
No, we haven't even got it at Disney.
Oh, yeah.
So shut up, Coy.
Sorry.
You move later. Halle Berry says she isn't returning. Okay. Yeah, whatever. Goes, shut up, Halle Berry. Shut up. I can't wait to see you there. What is today?
Today's the 3rd.
All right, let's see what's going on here. Okay, Predator, Badlands. Yay. Oh, yeah, I'm excited about this. The Predator is the protagonist.
Dan Trachtenberg doing a protagonist Predator.
Oh, and he is returning to direct.
Yeah, and Elle Fanning's in it.
Interviewing him was like, you've done so many interviews that there's got to be a few that really stand out as like ones that really left a mark in your life. And my brief times with Dan Trachtenberg is one of those for sure.
That's beautiful.
It's not like the interviews were the most profound, but the interaction, I could see the way he was like responding to when we were talking, and like one of the things he said at the premiere to me, I was like, oh wow, this is something I'm never gonna forget.
That's beautiful.
And he clearly loves the Predator. Like
Yeah.
he knows
Oh my
the
God,
Predator.
yeah.
He clearly loves the franchise, you know. Because sometimes you get these directors now who are like, I don't read comics and I don't like comics, but I'm going to direct your
make that comic movie. Like,
I don't like Harry Potter, but I'm going to make Harry Potter. You know, you get a
but
lot
why?
of that.
Would you spend 2 years of your life? All right, well,
And you want the people who love the good and also kind of like the bad.
Yeah.
you want those people
that understand.
that understand the franchise, and he's one of those for Predator. Like he gets the franchise, even the ones that are a little bit on the lesser side.
That's exciting. I've never talked to Dan. That's good to hear.
Yeah, and I think he's incredible. So Jeff Bridges is back for Tron, is he now?
Yeah, dude. Do you know the biggest? Well, maybe it's not the biggest deal to you, but I know it's going to be to John. John, do you know who's scoring Tron 3?
Oh, yes. That would be Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. 9 Inch Nails under the actual 9 Inch Nails banner. No
9 Inch
less.
Nails is back.
You want to know a fun fact? I have a neighbor who kind of pisses me off, who works with Trent Reznor.
I want to know them. I'm a huge fan.
I had to call his landlord.
Maybe not.
And apparently he's a super nice guy. And he just did a couple of things that really rubbed me the wrong way. And I was like, I'd be happy to have a dialogue with him. I say that. I'm like, I'd be happy to have a dialogue with him. Set it up. Let's talk. Hasn't happened yet. But yeah.
Giant Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross fan. They showed some footage back in the day at D23, and it was in a giant. Did I say about this, John?
I don't think so.
So they rented a stadium at D23, and it was like a full-on sports stadium, like thousands and thousands, like huge. And they filled it for D23 for the announcements. And this was like 3 hours into the Disney's gonna own everything on the planet announcement. And they like queued up Tron, and they had the bikes cruising around like on these projectors in the sky. And I was like, oh, that's that's fun. But then they like put these beams of lasers across the room, and they made it look like it was cutting the stadium open. And I was like, all right, you have my attention. Like, what's gonna possibly come out of the cutout? Like, nothing's gonna be impactful. And then it comes down and it makes this tiny little door, and then the door opens and it's just Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross standing completely still. They don't move. And I'm like, this is the greatest moment of my life. Door closes, nothing is ever said. Then 9 Inch Nails comes up on the screen in laser, cut to black, and I was like, everything was worth this. And ever since, I've been excited about this movie. I don't care about Tron enough to be excited, but 9 Inch Nails I care about a lot.
Well, you know what my neighbor did?
How did he offend you, Greg?
Well, John was there this day where he left out these boxes, and the front of his house started catching on fire. The whole boxes, it was a massive flame. And Olivia and I and another neighbor, we got our hose, went over to his next door and helped put out the fire. He wasn't around, never thanked us.
What?
And I was like, all right, fine. And then Olivia had kidney stones, and she got medicine delivered. And they delivered it to his place by accident. And there's a photo of dropping off at his front door. And then hours went by. I was like, where's the medicine? Like, they said it dropped off. Oh, they dropped off in the wrong place. I was like, okay, why didn't the guy just bring it over? I walk over, and it's further away from the door. He tore open the box and was like, not mine. Left it outside. Didn't even walk it over, which would have taken less than 20 seconds to walk it over.
Just left it in the yard?
And I was like, I think this is very disrespectful. And I like you're the landlord, so I'll talk to him first. And otherwise, I will talk to him directly if I need to, when and if I need to talk to him.
Those are two crazy things.
Yeah. So, maybe Trent Reznor's not a good boss and produces bitter employees.
I don't think we can blame Trent Reznor for this random guy's bad choices.
Reznor
Disagree.
rude neighbors who don't
Disagree.
wave back when they drive and you wave. Like,
Strike 3.
Got a lot of-
not wave back.
I mean, it's kind of rude and disrespectful.
That's very rude, disrespectful.
Same.
Neighborly. Come on, be a
Same.
little bit.
So Kevin Feige says Avengers Doomsday will focus on the Avengers, Wakandans, Fantastic Four, Thunderbolts, and original X-Men all fighting Doctor Doom. No. It's Avengers versus X-Men. That's what we're doing. That's what we're hopping to right away.
It's a good thing this Doom is such a threat that we've met. Wait, no, we haven't met him yet. What a crazy thing to just jump into.
I've read the first 6 original issues of Fantastic Four this week.
The new Ryan North one?
No, the original.
Oh, the old school
60s,
Kirby Stan Lee.
Yeah.
Dude.
The 5th one is Doctor Doom's first appearance of all time. Yeah, those are fun.
Yeah, dude, they're like crazy campy joy.
Yeah. Yeah.
The art's stunning.
I
Kirby's
don't know
my
if I
jam.
could read all those, though. There's a lot. I'm like, oh, yeah, this is fun, but man, I gotta maybe what's a more modern take I could read?
Read the newest run by Ryan North. It's only 30 issues in, and it's the best Fantastic Four maybe of all
Really?
time. It's so good.
What was the early 2000s one?
Jonathan Hickman's great.
That's the one.
Jonathan Hickman's
I was
fantastic.
thinking of starting on.
I truly
Yeah.
think the one run right now is the best FF ever.
I mean, I liked it. Sue Storm's pregnant in Fantastic Four.
That's probably gonna be in the trailer we watch tomorrow.
Great. What's her kid's name again?
Franklin
Richards.
He
Yes.
can create galaxies.
That's what I'm talking
or
about, baby.
realities. Is better
Let's
said.
speed up Fantastic Four as well. While
Yes.
We're at it.
What if we skip ahead?
What if we skip away?
Everybody's got a family, a baby. It's all good. Doom's already here. They're fighting everybody.
And a Silver Surfer. They've already met Namor.
It's fine.
Everything's already happened.
It's already done. We'll tell you about it in post.
I'm excited for Fantastic Four, and I see the Kirbyisms of it. But when I read stuff like that, I do go I think you're kind of speeding up.
You're
the
hurrying up.
process
All
a
right.
little
I
bit.
guess
Yeah.
good thing we can't third time's the charm with this team.
And Doom deserves to be solely a Fantastic Four villain at one point too.
Him fighting everyone in Marvel.
The more I read comics, because weirdly, this whole process of the podcast and conversations, I've been reading a lot more comics, and
Makes me so happy.
yeah, I enjoy it. Instead of being more oh my god, this is coming out, what do I have to read? Homework. I've been more what Daredevil?
This
one
is
do
a
I
nice
read?
time.
What Fantastic Four one do I want to read? Which and I happen to be reading Spider-Man. I was like, oh, this is perfect because I've been reading Brand New Day, and yeah, but the more I read, the more I get disappointed.
So you get where I'm coming from with the Doom casting. The internet got so mad at me every time I bring up that Downey Doom is not great, and the knee-jerk reaction to get mad is so exhausting. When it's I've loved this character my whole life. I think it's okay to be trepidatious.
Absolutely.
And I'm not even talking shit. I'm just trepidatious.
Zootopia 2 is finally happening. Avatar Fire and Ash is happening.
And they showed Thunderbolts footage.
Yay. Okay. All right, cool. We did it, guys.
We did it!
We did it. We did it. It is 8 p.m. Sorry, Coy. I will see you at 6 a.m. for Fantastic Four. I will be here for the next 4 to 5 hours. Thank you for readjusting. Thank you for everyone being here. If I'm exhausted, I can only imagine how you are, how everyone else who was at this shit was.
I drove at 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. and I'm still here.
You're a badass, man. Absolute badass.
I love Reject Nation. I want you guys to get the coverage that I was physically boots on the ground for. I hope you enjoyed
Apparently,
this episode.
this is the worst Superman scene I've ever seen in film history, according to people on Twitter. I got to close this now.
That's what you do when you get on Twitter. You close the laptop.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you soon. Bye.